You find a new MCP server that connects Claude Code to a useful internal system. It promises instant access to tickets, documents, and operational data. The demo works in 5 minutes. Then someone asks, which data can it read? Which actions can it expose? And where do the credentials live? That is the moment when integration becomes a trust decision. This is lesson 10 in the Claude Code Production Agent course, MCP and the Integration Plane. Subscribe for the full Claude Code Production Agent course. In Lesson 9, we learned that skills capture reusable judgment. MCP works at a different layer. It connects the agent environment to external capabilities. That connection can be powerful, but every new connection also expands the boundary of risk. MCP is not magic connectivity. It is an integration plane. There is a client, a server, a list of capabilities, and a boundary between the agent and another system. The question is not only can Claude Code call it, the question is what the server exposes, how it authenticates, and what evidence comes back. The visible artifact for this lesson is the MCP architecture map. Claude Code talks to an MCP client. The client connects through a transport such as STDIO or HTTP. The MCP server exposes tools or resources. Behind that server is an external system, a database, a SaaS product, a repository, a ticket system, or an internal API. Transport choice matters. CDO is often local and simple. HTTP is often remote and operationally visible. Remote servers need authentication, network boundaries, rate limits, and deployment ownership. Local servers still need trust, dependency management, and secret hygiene. The transport is part of the operating model. A useful mental model is a border crossing. On one side is Claude Code and the local agent loop. On the other side is another system with its own data, permissions, and operating rules. MCP gives you a structured crossing point. It does not remove the need to decide what should cross. Take a ticket system MCP server. It might read issues, search projects, and draft comments. That can be useful without giving broad administrative rights. The safe design exposes the actions the agent needs, returns ticket identifiers and links, and avoids giving write access unless the workflow really requires it. Now compare that with a database MCP server. The server may expose sensitive records, personal information, or operational data. Even read-only access can be risky. You need query limits, safe logging, authentication, ownership, and a clear reason why this access belongs in the agent loop. Use a risk checklist for every MCP server. What secrets does it need? Can it see PII or confidential data? Are rate limits enforced? Are requests and responses logged safely? Who owns the server version? How quickly can access be revoked if something goes wrong? Transport choice changes operations. A STDIO server may be simple and local, but it still depends on local packages and credentials. An HTTP server is easier to centralize and observe, but it introduces network reliability, authentication, latency, and deployment ownership. Neither is automatically safer. The operating model decides. Production readiness means the boundary is governed. Server versions. Observe calls. Document exposed capabilities. Keep secrets out of transcripts. Test failure behavior. Make revocation possible. MCP is powerful because it expands the agent's reach, so the boundary has to be designed as carefully as the capability. Use an integration risk checklist. What secrets does the server need? Can it see personal or sensitive data? Does it enforce rate limits? Does it log requests and responses safely? Who owns the server version? Can you audit which tool was called and why? Can you revoke access quickly? The common mistake is treating connection as permission. Just because an MCP server can expose a system does not mean the agent should receive broad access. Useful integration without boundaries can quietly become a data exposure path. MCP also changes observability. You need to know which server was called, which capability was used, what input was sent, what output returned, and whether the call crossed a sensitive boundary. Otherwise, the agent's transcript will not be enough for incident reconstruction. Let us recap. Lesson 10. MCP gives Claude Code an integration plane. Servers expose capabilities. Transports shape the operating model. Authentication, secrets, PII, rate limits, logging, and ownership define whether the integration is production safe. The lesson learned is this: MCP expands reach, so governance must expand with it. Every server is not just a convenience, it is a new trust boundary. Subscribe for the full Claude Code Production Agent course. The Claude Code book is linked as a companion resource in the description. In Lesson 11, we look at plugins and marketplaces, reuse, trust, and supply chain risk.